Welcome to No Broken Legs. I am your host, Evan Belfiore. It is a snowy Friday night here on the shores of Lake Erie, and there is playoff football to be had. So to find you the winning bets, Jimmy Champ is joining us. Jimmy, how are you tonight?
I am doing good. I'm nice and warm. I had a little bit of a scary drive home. It was starting to get crazy right when I was coming home this afternoon, but all safe in Portage County, and just ready to talk about these playoff games, man.
Yeah, some shocking week one playoff games, and I should note we are going to do a full Browns podcast that will be a separate pod from this one, so I will put a link in the description below. So the Browns wasn't the only game that surprised me as they got totally blown out. The Dallas getting beat by Green Bay really shocked me, Jimmy.
Yes.
That blew my mind.
Yes.
We were all over Tampa. I thought LA got the short end of a bad call. We liked them to win that game. They did cover, so we do get credit for that one on the point spread. And then Buffalo took care of business against Pittsburgh. That game got moved, which definitely changed what everybody thought was going to happen there.
Yes, for sure.
So let's get into these games. We've got 8 teams left. And, hey, look at that. One of them is somebody who used to be a quarterback for the Cleveland Browns that now plays for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and he's still playing. Just as a teaser, the Cleveland Browns got rid of the only coach that has actually coached them to a playoff game on the sidelines. So there's that, too.
All of this is fabulous.
Yeah, it's just a little incredible teaser for how we're going to talk about the Browns.
Yeah.
First off, we have to talk about the team that beat the Browns and beat them soundly in Houston last weekend. The Houston Texans now find themselves as 9.5-point underdogs to the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens are minus 455 on their money line, plus 345 for the Texans. The over-under on this one's 43.5. Looking like we'll get some snow and some weather for this game too, Jimmy. You've been all over Houston. You had them to win last week. So tell us what's going to happen in this one, man, because you just got the pulse on Houston.
Yeah. I cannot bring myself to say they're going to outright win the game, but as hot as their offense is right now, I don't think anybody's going to beat them by 9 points. I kind of feel like this line is disrespectful. Like, if the Browns were the best defense in the NFL,
but I don't think they were.
Well, I don't either, but a lot of people do, right? I just don't understand how you then think Baltimore's going to beat this team by effectively 2 scores. Like, I have trouble with that. I think they're going to score maybe a touchdown. Like, I could see them losing by a touchdown. I think they can cover the 9, and I'll probably throw something at the money line too. Because if they won the game, I mean, we know it's a small sample size, but Lamar has not been good in playoff games. The team's not that different. And, I mean, there's a couple pieces here and there that have been interchangeable, but Lamar hasn't been very good in the playoffs. They haven't been very good as a 1 seed off of a bye historically. So there's a lot going against Baltimore, except that they've been the best team in what was the better conference this year. I think Baltimore, they beat the crap out of some good teams down the stretch, and unlike Kevin Stefanski, I think Harbaugh will have used the time wisely. I bet Harbaugh watched the Indianapolis tape and will actually run the ball against Houston. Like, I see a lot of Baltimore run game coming into effect in this game, but Lamar will have his opportunities. We know Houston can got deep. So, I mean, Lamar will have his chances. Mark Andrews being out probably affects the game plan a little bit. I believe Duvernay is active, so that does give him another pass catcher. But I do think the Texans will cover the spread, but I think Baltimore will probably win. I think Baltimore probably wins by 6. I think that's where I like it to be.
Yeah. Somebody's getting blown out this weekend. Like, at least one of these 9.5-point spreads with San Francisco that we'll talk about next being the other one. And I can't quite figure out which one I think it's going to be because both of these young quarterbacks have played so well. And there's so much backdoor cover potential. These are playoff games. So Houston's not going to give up. They're going to chuck it downfield. And C.J. Stroud's ability to protect the football is why I don't think Houston's going to get blown out. I think they're going to score some points. I think this game winds up being more high scoring than people think. It's going to be cold, but you're not going to get a lot of weather. It's not going to be super windy. It's not going to be snowy. I think this game, I think they probably get close to 50 points in this game. I like the over.
Yeah,
I like what you think. Even if Baltimore manages to get up by 2 scores, I still like Houston to be able to get a score to cover that 9.5. So even if they lose by a touchdown, you're still good there. And to your point about the Browns defense, they were the best pass defense in terms of rushing yards allowed. They were the best defense in terms of passing yards allowed. But we saw a pretty big shift in them from when they played at home and when they played on the road. They could get got on the road. Maybe not quite that bad.
Those home road splits couldn't have been worse.
Yeah, and Houston's going to be able to score. That's just what I keep coming back to. Yeah, I think they're going to be able to put points on the board. Baltimore is a team that has shown that even if they're up by 2-3 scores, you can put points on them later in games. They might fall apart. I also worry about what Lamar is going to look like early in this game. How long does it take him to get into a rhythm? And if Baltimore is going to run the ball more, that's going to shorten the game, which in turn should shorten the amount of points. But I think with Houston's offense playing the way it is, and Baltimore's been pretty explosive in their own right. So I think this game winds up being somewhere around 28-24, and I think Baltimore wins it.
Yeah, I like that. I like the Houston to cover and the over. I like that as well. I think that's a good way to start the weekend.
Yeah. Are there any player props you're looking at in this game specifically?
For me, I am still all in on the Texans passing attack. I'm taking the over on Stroud's passing yards, probably attempts and touchdowns. Nico Collins, I'm probably going over on yards. I like Nico to get a touchdown. I love Devin Singletary as an anytime touchdown scorer. So that's where I'm looking because I don't know, especially with Mark Andrews out. You got to love Lamar's rushing yards. But other than that, I don't know where their manufactured offense will come from. So I'm probably going to stay away from the Baltimore player props, but I do like those ones on the Houston side.
I like Isaiah Likely, 36.5 yards. I like him to go over.
That's a good one.
They've been looking for him to help them get first downs, and he's really filled in that role that Andrews plays, but he's more athletic. I don't think he's quite as good, but we may be looking 5 years down the line thinking, oh yeah, this guy's just as good as Mark Andrews was.
Yeah.
So I think this is the type of game where they're going to do what they did last week in terms of coveraging, where they're not going to let Zay Flowers beat him like they didn't let Amari Cooper beat him. So that's going to open things up for other guys. Maybe Odell pokes his head out, or maybe Rashad Bateman, one of those two guys on a deep ball. So, Beckham's over-unders at 36.5, Bateman's at 24.5. Probably not going to bet either one of those because I think there's better bets out there. But if you think they're going to really try to bracket Zay Flowers, those two guys could probably get a little bit of action. And at those numbers, as low as they are, you're not going to need to get a lot of production to get a win there on and over.
No.
And what's 52.5 is Lamar's over-under. That's I feel like that's a lot, but I also feel like that's not a lot at all.
I feel like that's like 3 rushes.
Yeah. Yeah, I like all those. So any final thoughts on this game, Jimmy?
I actually like, just like with the Cleveland Houston game last week, I like that this is the game kicking off the playoff weekend because I think just like the Houston Cleveland game, I think there's going to be fireworks and excitement in this game, and it'll be just a great way to start the second round of the playoffs.
Yeah. There is also another bet I kind of like. So you can tell that the sharps think Baltimore is going to start slow because the over-under for the first quarter is 3. Or sorry, the spread is 3. Houston's getting 3 in the first quarter. I think Houston's going to be in front in the first quarter.
That would not surprise me.
I
Yeah,
think
I
they're
like
gonna.
that.
They've been a fast starting team. Baltimore coming off of buys has always been a slow starting team, so I think that's a bet to look at.
Yeah, I kind of probably like Devin Singletary as the first touchdown scored.
Yeah,
That'll
that's
probably,
sitting at what do we got? Plus 500 here, and yeah, you can get plus 500, plus 550 somewhere in there.
yeah, I kind of like that. That'll probably be in some parlays.
Nice. Yeah, that'd be a nice one to hit.
Yep.
Our next game is the San Francisco 49ers. They are hosting the upstart Green Bay Packers. The Niners also 9.5 point favorites, minus 455 for their money line, plus 345 for the Packers money line. Those numbers are exactly the same as the first game. The over-under, though, in this one sits at 50.5. Jimmy, Green Bay just came out and just fucked up Dallas's world, man. That really shocked me. I loved how they took the opening kick, and I loved how they just said, fuck it, we're going to march down the field, and we don't care if this is Dallas or not. This is our house.
Yeah, I think, and I agree. I agree with what you said in the open. I think the Cowboys' performance and the Packers' performance were the two most shocking things of the weekend, in my opinion. I mean, in Dallas, offensively they did fight back, but just things that hadn't happened to that defense all year happened with ease for the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, we were texting each other like, did Dan Quinn like take the Seattle job or something, and it pissed everybody off? Like, what the fuck is going on here?
The whole thing, the whole CeeDee Lamb body language stuff at the start, like the whole thing was weird for Dallas. It really was weird, and
yeah, it definitely looked like something was up outside of the game.
You and I have joked about just the odds say there's no way Jordan Love could be good because there can't possibly be odds of a team hitting on a quarterback 3 times in a row like this. But
Yeah.
man, that young man looked like the real deal in that game against Dallas.
Yeah, he was just throwing darts all over the place. And Matt LaFleur, somebody that I never really thought too highly of, even though he had really good.
Yeah.
He had really good. There's a team's just always in the playoffs. I'm stunned. I'm really stunned. I thought Green Bay was going to take a step back this year, and here they are in the final 8.
And they are definitely a different looking team when Aaron Jones is healthy and
Absolutely.
able to go. I still think, all that being said, I think the 49ers win this game by 2 touchdowns.
I'm with you. I think San Francisco is going to blow out Green Bay, and I think this is going to be the classic don't overrate the team that looked too good in week 1 of the playoffs.
Yes.
I think Green Bay's rife for it. I think San Francisco's going to do some things to confuse them on defense, and I don't think Green Bay has anything for that San Francisco offense. There's just too many weapons, and just too many weapons on that side of the ball. I think Brock Purdy's going to have himself a good day. We saw what Baker was able to do to this defense not that long ago, and it just look, if we don't trust Dak in the playoffs, then we can't trust Dak in the playoffs, and we shouldn't too overly hype what Green Bay did last week. So that's a big part of it. I like Purdy to go over 2 touchdowns. I think he's gonna have more than 265 because I think he's gonna have to throw because I think Jordan Love's gonna put points up. So I like Jordan Love's over. I like a lot of overs in this game. I think that you can even try one of these. Wow, they are just making Christian McCaffrey's minus 500 just to score a touchdown.
Yep. Think they know something?
Yeah, probably plus 145 to score more than 1 touchdown for Christian McCaffrey. But this is the type of game I look at where Aaron Jones, George Kittle, Debo, Ayuk, like I might just throw all of those guys in parlays together and see what happens.
I think for this game, because Green Bay is so hot, I think playing the San Francisco offensive props, I agree with what you just said. I think you've either got to throw at all of them, like all 6 of the weapons you just mentioned, or stay away from all of them.
Yeah.
Because Shanahan is going to, I think maybe like the first 2 series, maybe it's a little bit of like feeling out boxer jabs to see where he may have an advantage, and whoever then has that advantage is the guy.
I don't think they can wait. I don't think you can give this Green Bay team any rope. If this is still a game where, if it's 14-10 in the second quarter and it starts getting to be mid to late second quarter,
yeah,
we still have not seen the San Francisco team beat somebody good close.
You're not wrong.
So
that you're not wrong about.
This seems like a game that San Francisco either wins by 2 touchdowns or they lose.
Yeah, and in the last, obviously the playoffs are a very different thing.
Mm-hmm.
But the last primetime game San Francisco played this year, they got embarrassed. So
I don't even remember which game that was. Oh, that was the Baltimore game.
Yeah. So that's something too. But I agree with you. It would be something for Jordan Love in his first playoff game against San Francisco to beat a team that Aaron Rodgers could never beat in the playoffs.
That would be pretty funny.
I don't think it's going to happen, but I
don't think so. I would be even more stunned if Green Bay made it to the conference championship game. And what a sour ending for San Francisco.
Yeah.
They would sort of be in the wilderness now with all those weapons, and you lost one Super Bowl. Congratulations.
Well, and I think because the thing that would be the one thing San Francisco doesn't want to deal with in the offseason, like, I don't think there's any other possibility. Like, if San Francisco loses this game, it's because Jordan Love played, like, considerably better than Brock Purdy. Like, Brock Purdy fumbled, Brock Purdy threw bad interceptions. Brock Purdy would be the only thing holding
that's how they lose
back
is when Brock Purdy throws a bunch of interceptions or turns the ball over.
That is the thing San Francisco doesn't want to deal with in the offseason.
No, not at all. Because then they're going to have to wind up going and looking for somebody else because Sam Darnold's not going to be the backup there next year. That just doesn't seem like it makes a lot of sense.
No.
Up next, we have the Detroit Lions. They are 6-point favorites hosting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, minus 278 for the Lions, plus 222 for Tampa Bay. The over-under on this one is 50. Jimmy, Baker, and Jared Goff, 2 cast-off number 1 overall picks. Just a testament to how much coaching matters, and how much fit matters, and what you're trying to do. Because Dan Campbell said, all right, we're going to have Jared Goff. We're going to make this work. And Tampa Bay said, all right, we're going to bring in Baker on a cheap contract and see if we can make this work. And they did. And both of these guys, you got to give them credit. What Tampa Bay did last week to Philadelphia was pretty telling. And I think based on what we saw in Indianapolis and based on what we saw in Philadelphia as the season wore on, I don't think Nick Sirianni is quite as good a coach as I did last season. I think those 2 coordinators really did a great job. And even in Arizona, they played better than we thought. So his 2 coordinators went to new places, and those 2 places overachieved, and the place he's at underachieved.
Yep.
Tough to deal with that much. It is difficult to deal with that much brain drain. But what really was telling to me was how Tampa Bay was able to get to the quarterback. If they're going to put that kind of pressure on Jared Goff, it could be a long day for Detroit.
Yeah, so, I like the over, and I'll probably bet a little bit of this game both ways, because I think the only 2 scenarios are Tampa Bay wins close or Detroit wins in a rout.
Yeah, like Baker just throws a pick or 2. Or, I mean, even with this Tampa Bay, we saw it in October when these 2 teams played. The Lions won 20-6.
Yes.
And it was just one of those games where Baker's 19 of 37. He's not completing very many passes. He had a pick, but overall, they just didn't really do a whole lot moving the ball on offense. And that's probably what we're going to look at in this game. Amon-Ra St. Brown went off. He had 12 catches for 124 yards and a touchdown. I like him to probably score in this game. I like Laporta to score. You can't go wrong putting bets on Mike Evans to do good things. He's just a really good player and continues to be. But I think Detroit's going to win this game by 10 to 14 points. And I think Tampa Bay is going to be another one of those, let's calm down on those first weekend games. Don't overvalue the team that looks too good against the team that's fallen apart.
But
It's going to be full-blown panic mode in Cleveland if Tampa Bay wins this game, though.
But here are the things. Here are the things to me in this game. So the thing that's weird, right? If you blitz Jared Goff and you don't get there, Jared Goff is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL.
Yep.
If the pressure gets in his face, Jared Goff is one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL. Now, that being said, I know Ford Field's going to be rocking just like it was last week.
Mm-hmm.
But you cannot take away from the fact that Detroit scored touchdowns on 3 straight drives and then only mustered a field goal the rest of the game and did need a pretty blown call by the refs to secure that win.
Yeah, I also think the Rams are a better team than they are. I don't think Tampa Bay is a better team than Detroit.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. But the thing that where it will happen will be, is Baker connecting on the deep shots? Because
absolutely,
while Detroit's pass rush has gotten better, they're still horrible defending the pass. Like, they're still really bad at it, and Evans and Godwin affect you in a different way than Kupp and Naku.
Yes.
It's a different, it's death by a machete, not death by a million little cuts.
Yeah. And I think they'll connect on at least one. Baker's gonna get one deep ball connection. Whether or not they get a touchdown on it, I don't know. What I do like is a 2-leg parlay with Baker and Jared to both throw interceptions. That's plus 189.
Yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad.
I also like a lot of points. I think Laporta is going to get in the end zone. You can't go wrong with Montgomery and Gibbs. Those guys tend to eat. Montgomery tends to eat a little more towards the red zone, so I would lean more towards him. But just like these first 3 games, it looks like we're going to get points.
Yes. Yeah, I absolutely agree.
Our last game, I don't think we're going to get a lot of points, Jimmy. And that sees the Kansas City Chiefs playing the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are 2.5-point home favorites as they finally get to host the Kansas City Chiefs in their building for a playoff game. Minus 155 for their money line, plus 130 for the Chiefs. Over-under on this one sits at 45.5. Jimmy, Patrick Mahomes, 8-1, straight up when he's an underdog. They're giving us points to bet on Kansas City. This is pretty wild. Buffalo's been on a heater. There is so much media pressure to make Buffalo a real contender against Kansas City in a playoff game. Do you think they can finally burst through this time? Is this their time?
No. No. Like, Vegas made this line just to take all of Bills Mafia's money so they stop breaking tables. Like, how are the Bills the favorite in this game? Like, I don't understand. They have been winning, whether our boy Sully or anybody else likes it, they've been winning in spite of poor play from Josh Allen. It's still fun and exciting, but Josh Allen has not played well for a month, and they have found ways to manufacture wins. Kudos to them. Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid in a cold playoff game, Rashee Rice busting on the scene, making you go Tyreek who. Give me the Chiefs all day in this game. I don't think it's going to be particularly close. I think the Chiefs might win this thing like 24-10, something like that. and Patrick Mahomes continues his dominance over the Bills and Josh Allen.
I definitely like the under. These two defenses are really good. Kansas City's defense continues to not get a whole lot of respect from bettors because the over-under on these games tends to be pretty high. It's not as high as the two games that preceded it, but it's going to be cold. Josh Allen, ironically, hasn't really played the best in the cold, which is kind of odd considering he's in Buffalo and kind of his style seems to lend itself to the cold.
Yep.
I'm probably going to have to put some hedge money on Buffalo because I have so much money on Kansas City to win the Super Bowl, where I have so much potentially at stake.
Yes.
So I'll probably have to throw some on the Buffalo money line. I wish they were underdogs in this game because that would be getting better line on that. But I'm with you. I'm like just all this stuff that I'm hearing. It's Patrick Mahomes' first road playoff game, and how's he going to handle it, and blah blah blah. And this just sounds like all the shit everybody said about Tom Brady.
38. The Chiefs are. Kudos, I believe it was my man Bill Barnwell. The Chiefs are 38-11 on the road with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah,
like they win on the road. I don't know. What does it matter if it's regular season, postseason? They win on the road.
Yeah,
sorry, Bill.
Like those, all the talk about Mahomes' first playoff road game just sounds like it's going to be nonsensical when it's going to be Monday and we're going to be like, oh yeah, why did we even doubt Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're going to just see a ton of. I think I like Pacheco to get a lot of carries, but I think you're going to see a ton of passes to Rice and Kelsey. I think at this point now, okay,
those are the guys.
These are the guys we can trust. We know how to scheme them open. Not as well as we did with Bieniemy, but we can still scheme them open, and good things will happen. I really don't think this game is going to be particularly close. I don't understand the people that think the Bills are going to win this game. I don't understand. I don't know.
Pacheco had 89 yards last week, and his over/under this week is 61.5.
Yeah,
that just seems silly. They're going to try and run him. I like him to run. On the flip side, I think James Cook at 62.5. I think his goes under. I think this is a game where Josh Allen at 42.5. I like him to go over. Patrick Mahomes over 29.5. He's going to have to make another big run, and he fucking was at 25.5 last week and did it in one fucking play. This is
no, he'll scurry.
Yeah, the Mahomes over rushing in playoff games is basically a lock these days. Like, you have to bet it because he's always scrambling. He's so good at it. He knows when to pick the spots. And he's just going to put up 30, 40 yards of rushing because that's what they're going to need to win this game.
Yep.
All right. Well, that's it, man. We're looking at KC, Baltimore, and San Francisco, Detroit. We'll see if that happens. Searching for that 4-0 weekend, brother.
Yeah, I had a very, very good Saturday last week, and then came back and sucked it up on Sunday. So we'll see if we can have 2 good days this week.
Yeah, I started out great with the Flacco parlay, and then everything kind of went to shit after that. Once again, this is just one of our 2 weekend pods. We'll have another one about the Browns. You'll find that link in the description. But Jimmy, thanks for joining me to make these picks and help our listeners win some money. No place I'd rather be, brother. I want to thank all of you for listening. Again, check out our Browns podcast. For Jimmy Champ, I am Evan Belfiore. Thank you for listening to No Broken Legs. Every action has a